Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Kansas City Chiefs cheat sheet. I am Darren Smith along with Steve Walls, and we are live from the inside the press box here at G.E.H.A Field Stadium inside of Arrowhead Stadium. Steve, welcome. Obviously, how's your day going?
It's going good, man. I'm excited to see a first place battle, on a Sunday night football.
And speaking of that, of course, we're here tonight instead of earlier in the day because the NFL last week flicks this game to Sunday night football. So we'll see the 6-5 Denver Broncos coming into Arrowhead Stadium, taking on the 7-4 Kansas City Chiefs with first place in the AFC West in the division on the line in tonight's game. So, Steve, of course, there's a lot going on. In football today, of course, we just saw the Raiders fall 17-15 to the Washington Football Giants. Of course, though, we saw earlier in the day where the Los Angeles Chargers were victorious against the Cincinnati Bengals. So, your thoughts as we go into tonight's matchup between the Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs?
This is a game that the Broncos coming in as a must win game. I think this is a make or break for their season. And the reason why I say that is because the Broncos haven't beat the Chiefs in years. It's been since 2015. So then the inactives are today are running back Melvin Gordon. I think that's one of the keys for the Broncos. It's like, dang, you don't have one of your starting running backs that's going to play tonight. So I think that the Broncos are going to come in here into a loud Arrowhead trying to be victorious.
When we look at tonight's matchup, of course, Andy Reid is 18-3 coming off of a bye. The Kansas City, of course, in their last win
Mhm.
was a 19-9 victory over the Dallas Cowboys. That game was here at Arrowhead. We saw the defense step up in that ball game. Steve, tonight's ball game, of course, you'll see Teddy Bridgewater, you'll see Vic Fangio, who was 0-4 thus far
Mhm.
against the Chiefs. And the Chiefs have won the last 11 games against the Denver Broncos.
That's true, but you know what? The like I said, the Broncos are coming in here and they've realized like, hey, we've never beat this team. the guys that are currently on this roster. So Patrick Mahomes has never lost to the Broncos. So it's one of those things. It's like, all right, we haven't won. What do we need to do? We're going to do everything that we can, meaning pull out all the stops. You're going to see. Let's just say that the Broncos will go for everything, every chance and opportunity that they can get to win this game.
Andy Reid is 12-6 against the Denver Broncos, as you
Mhm.
mentioned. Patrick Mahomes undefeated as a starter and as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs, of course, in the last game against, and as we're, of course, folks are looking, they're who and howing about Pittsburgh. They're leading 20-19. Looks like with under 20 seconds left to go in the ball game, Steve. And if this, of course, holds up, the Pittsburgh Steelers would have given Baltimore a L, which is what Kansas City needs right about now, if they were to try to get first place in the conference. But looking at this ball game, Steve, the Chiefs are healthy. They're healthy on defense. They're especially healthy on defense, but they're also getting healthy on offense. I believe Lucas Niang makes his return for Kansas City tonight. When we look and we see the health of Kansas City, how important is it as they go into this home stretch to finish off the regular season?
Look, on the defensive side of the ball, start there first. Frank Clark talked about it earlier this week. It's like, all right, we're all healthy. We started the season with a lot of nicks and bruises. Frank didn't even play the first couple of games. Didn't play in preseason as well. And so once you got these guys that are coming in here and they're all healthy, the camaraderie's there on the defensive side of the ball. They're playing well. I think this is the best that we've seen this team play so far this season. Now on the offensive side. They came in and they really weren't banged up, but you had Clyde Edwards-Helaire that was on IR earlier this season. But it was the offensive line. You had a new offensive line that had to come in and learn themselves and learn how to play together. And I think now that you have all these guys that are you can say veterans for the season. Uh, Everything's clicking. But the offense has to play together and play better than they have in the first half of the season.
Steve, I wanted your observations before we dive into this game. I was going around before fans start coming into the stadium, and the parking lot at Arrowhead Stadium seemed real quiet for some reason.
Hmm.
Now, Did you get that same feeling? And can you maybe elaborate as to why that might be? I just feel like this whole, or maybe people didn't want this being a night game. Maybe a lot of people are starting to complain now about the Chiefs getting flexed. I'm like, when you get flexed, I mean that's a good thing. It means the NFL wants the whole country to see you play. But again, I was getting a feeling when I was out there visiting people's tailgates and tents and stuff that it was just a real quiet atmosphere, and it's not something that I feel like that usually happens here at Arrowhead.
You're right. Just walking around doing some pregame stuff, and it did seem a little weird, being that it's a rivalry type game. Now, a lot of people would say, "Oh, well, the Ravens are the main rival." No, I think being a Kansas Cityan, growing up watching the Chiefs, it was always the Broncos to me. The Broncos own this team early '90s, late '90s, and
Yeah,
early
John Elway,
2000s.
and then of course when they
Terrell
switched
Davis
over,
and all those guys, and
yeah.
so yeah, it's and I still feel that way. I think maybe it was probably a little early as we see folks piling in. Of course, the later start gave people a chance to sleep in, and but there were a lot of Chiefs fans out there who were doing some tailgating, and I think the stadium, no matter how quiet it was out there in the parking lot, this stadium's gonna be rocking come 7:20.
Kansas City, of course, comes into this ball game on a four-game winning streak. Steve, the last time they lost was the mollywop that they received at the hands of the Tennessee Titans. The Chiefs will probably be the second hottest team, I would say, next to the New England Patriots, who have won 6 games in a row, heading into their game tomorrow night against the Buffalo Bills. But going back to the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, look, he's aiming for a third game in a row with 250 plus passing yards. The offense has been off and on. They seem to have struggled a little bit after getting out the gate a couple of weeks ago against the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, we saw what they did against the Raiders in Las Vegas, where Patrick Mahomes threw for 500 plus yards, 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Well, what type of game do you see Patrick coming off of a bye week? What type of performance are you expecting from Patrick Mahomes in this offense? Who, again, with Clyde was coming back from injury, got a couple of weeks, with the bye to kind of heal up even more. What are you expecting with this offense in tonight's game against the Denver Broncos?
You know what? I don't see this team letting up any. I think, of course, a lot of people talk about how well Andy is off of a bye. He just doesn't lose, and I think Andy has been tinkering. He talks about being down in his bunker all the time, so I think he's been tinkering down in that bunker for this past week over the Thanksgiving holiday, and we're going to see some things that Andy has some stuff up his sleeve. And the thing about it is that the Chiefs rank fourth in passing yardage on the season, averaging 290.5 yards per game, and Pa- Patrick, look, he wasn't the Patrick that we all know. The MVP Patrick, Super Bowl MVP, former regular season NFL MVP, and I don't think he wants to have that same showing that he had in the first half of the season. I think he really did. He talked about doing some self scouting, and within that self scouting, I think he was able to understand that, hey, a lot of those interceptions that I had early on in the season, a lot of those were tip balls, and I don't have to force things. I can take the under and don't have to go long all the time and try to force it and come up with a 70-yard play each and every time down the field.
So you mean to tell me that Patrick has said he doesn't need to go for the home run ball. He can actually just play regular style quarterback, not force things. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I think look, he had a running back. We haven't. When's the last time we seen a running back with Patrick Mahomes that has had 100 yards receiving? We haven't seen that in a long time. I think the closest that we've seen was what was it, Damian Williams, I believe.
Either him or Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, and so that's something new for him over these past couple years. And now that he's gained the confidence of the running back crew, and that Tyreek Hill said he had to learn how to kind of play again, right? Learn how to take the under and take what's given instead of trying to go for the home run ball as well.
One of the questions that people have been asking me over the last week and a half is what's the situation with McCole Hardman. We've seen his play at wide receiver limited some. Obviously, he's not returning kicks at the moment. Tyreek Hill, this is the third game in a row. He's going to be looking to get 7+ catches. Of course, Travis Kelce's starting to get back into the flow of the offense. It's not that he ever really wasn't, but
Mhm.
he's starting to become more active. What do you see with this receiving core outside of Travis Kelsey and Tyreek Hill that can give the Chiefs offense some additional spark right now?
Oh man, I think it was just a little struggle for Travis Kelsey early on. I think he was a little hobbled, had a little wrist injury or hand injury. So I think with McCole, it's kind of tough for him because look, he's not a Sammy Watkins type player. He's just like Tyreek Hill. And he's gonna have to be able to get open when Tyreek and Travis are covered. He just has it. He's gonna get the third cornerback on the depth chart, right? So you have to beat that guy. If you feel like you're number one in this league, which I believe he thinks he is, he has to become the Jet, and which what his nickname is. Now the thing about it is he's now been, and I've been saying this. I don't know if you can remember, but I've said maybe he needs to be off a punt return. Maybe he needs to focus solely on being a wide receiver. That way, he's able to just focus on being just that, being that he doesn't have to worry about. All right, well, now I got to get ready to run out here and get a punt and try to make something happen. So I think being off punt is a good thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing for him.
Steve Walls, Darren Smith. We're here with Kansas City Chiefs cheat sheet live at Arrowhead Stadium as kickoff is a little under 40 minutes away between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. Steve, one of the things that, when we talked with Patrick this week at the presser, I asked him about Patrick Surtain, the rookie, Patrick Surtain, the second. Now, we've seen this defense for the Denver Broncos. They've played well in 3 of the last 4 or 5 games that they've played, which has been wins, and they've beaten some quality teams. They beat the Chargers on last week. They beat the Dallas Cowboys a few weeks ago. I mean, this is a team that once they had traded away Von Miller, everybody felt that they were kind of giving up on the season. They were left for dead,
Hmm.
but they've actually gotten younger and they've gotten faster. And then they've also had great success great success in running the football. Now, Melvin Gordon is inactive in tonight's ball game, but to Patrick's credit, he has talked about he did talk about Surtain. Coming from lineage, of course, his father played for Kansas City for three seasons
Hmm.
when he played in the league. So Patrick knows that as good as this rookie is, he really don't want to try to take too many chances because I'm presuming he's going to be matched up against Tyreek in tonight's ball game, and so obviously Patrick is going to want to try to challenge, but he is good enough to where if Patrick getting on the money, he can take it back to the house. Your thoughts on this defense, which also features Justin Simmons for the Denver Broncos?
I like Denver's defense.
They do.
I really do. They're coming in, ranked third in points allowed in the NFL, and I think there's a reason why they're able to get after opposing quarterbacks. They're also able to take away the deep ball, which a lot of teams have been successful with that against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, think about it is a rookie that's going up against a veteran quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, he's going to test you. I think he's not going to shy away from Sertan. He's going to, especially if he's guarding Tyreek Hill. You're going to get your opportunities to make a play, and if you don't make it, you're going to be looking foolish. I mean, so that's the thing about I like about Patrick Mahomes is that he's not gonna look to that side as like, oh, well, Sertan's guarding Tyreek. I'm not gonna go that way. No, he's gonna take the challenge and go. And I'm sure Tyreek is gonna tell him like, hey man, even if this cat's guarding me, I'm still throwing me the rock, and that's just how they roll. And but the thing about it too is the fact that this defense, they played well together.
Mm.
Uh, and we saw the Denver Broncos win against the Chargers, and we saw them how they treated Justin Herbert last week. So I think they're going to try to do some of the same things. But look, Andy Reid is ready for that. They had an opportunity to watch that game last week, and like I said, Andy's been down in his bunker, and this Denver Broncos defense is gonna figure out why Arrowhead is so tough to play.
Look, I do believe that the Broncos defense is formidable.
Mhm.
I think before the season when we were kind of on our respective shows looking at the outlook, I felt that if there were any team that could challenge Kansas City, it would actually be the Denver Broncos because I thought that they improved themselves defensively with the addition of Surtain in the draft this off season. Looking at the Broncos offense, they they leave a lot to be desired. Now, in their wins, in the last few wins that they've had, they've been effective in running the football. But again, they'll be without Melvin Gordon in tonight's game. Rookie Javante Williams will probably pick up the slack. So I'm curious and interested to see what they do against the Chiefs' defense. But Broncos offense, led by Teddy Bridgewater. Perhaps if he's not 100%, we may see a little bit of Drew Lock a little bit later on in the ball game. But that offense against Kansas City's defense and what the defense that we're seeing now, how does that match up to you?
No, it's gonna be interesting, man. I'm really not sold on Teddy Bridgewater. I'm just not. But thing about it is, I'm a huge Drew Lock fan. I like
Huge.
how I like his deep ball threat ability. Right, I love that. And thing about it is that I don't think that this offense is going to be able to do much without Melvin Gordon. Look, the way that this offense is set, the Denver Broncos offense is set up, is it's like 50-50. If you know how the Raiders set up with Josh Jacobs and the other running back they have, I mean, 50% of the time, each of these running backs is going to have the ball, right?
Yeah.
So missing one guy now it's going to be placed on the another guy's shoulders, which is Javante Williams. So look, I don't think this Denver Broncos offense is going to come in here and wreck shop. I think they're going to come in here and try to run the ball because that's the way Denver rolls. I don't think they're going to come out here and just light the scoreboard up. I really don't. Um, look, they in offense rankings, Denver Broncos in total yardage, they rank 20th. Points scored 21st, rushing yardage 14th, and passing yardage 21st. So they're a middle of the road, if not uh, yeah, they're middle of the road offense. So I just don't feel like they're going to come out here and light up the scoreboard today.
So, Steve, I want to kind of reset everything. I'm looking at the NFL playoff standings as it stands right now before the Chiefs game tonight. New England Patriots, who were considered dead before the season started, they are now number one seed in the AFC
Hmm.
with the loss to the Baltimore Ravens coming just moments ago. So New England's number one, Tennessee's number two, Baltimore's number three, Chiefs currently sit number four, depending on the outcome of tonight's game. Buffalo Bills number five going into tomorrow night's game. Chargers number six as a sixth seed, and of course the Cincinnati Bengals number seven. So of course those two teams face each other today. Chargers got the tiebreaker over them. Kansas City would be higher up, even if they won tonight's game. They'll still be the same, but they would have been higher up had they not had losses to the Titans, the Ravens, and the
Mhm.
Bills. They'd be, sitting at a hold. They'd be sitting above everyone right now. But as I've said, and I've said all this week, I like Kansas City stance versus everyone else at the moment because I feel Kansas City can win out. I think I think they have the mindset and being a champion and two-time defending AFC champion. They know what it takes to when it gets down to the dog days of December as you get into the playoffs.
Mhm.
It's these other teams that's going to have to kind of roll with the punches and try to figure out who they are as a team. Now, I'm interested. Before we go back to the game, I am interested in tomorrow night's game, Patriots and the Bills. The good thing about this matchup tomorrow night is that these two teams play each other 2 3 weeks later. So they could split. And to be quite honest, I hope they do split because if Kansas City wins, all Kansas City needs to do is win out. I do see a scenario where the Ravens lose another game. They take on the Green Bay Packers next Sunday. So I think the Packers can get them if that helps. If Kansas City wins, Baltimore loses, Kansas
Mhm.
City bumps up to at least number three. I don't see a scenario where Tennessee wins out. So I think that they'll lose the game, which will give Kansas City a chance to creep up to number two. And then, of course, what will happen if the Patriots somehow slip up between now and the end of the season. And look, obviously they need to split with the Buffalo Bills. So both of them will have five losses. They do that, Chiefs win out. They'll be the number one seed. They'll get a bye. We won't have to travel until Los Angeles, but that's getting. I don't want to get too far ahead, but just want to get your quick thoughts on that.
It's crazy how up and down this season has been, man. The AFC is so tough. We always looked at the NFC as being the I guess big brother, other than the New England Patriots every season. But the way that this season is shaked out, it just shows how important each and every week is, no matter what the game is, right? Like who would have thought that the Denver Broncos would be playing for first place?
Hmm.
I didn't think that in the beginning of the season. So I just AFC West is very tough. I know people are thinking like New England Patriots. Oh, how is that possible without Tom Brady,
That
right?
defense, they got
Yeah,
still got Bill Belichick.
yeah. So we know now that it wasn't maybe not maybe it wasn't Tom. Maybe it was Bill Belichick or a little bit of both, right? So it's just so important for getting back to today's game. It's just so important for this Chiefs team to win because look, you don't want it to come down to the end of the season and you're going to playing the Cincinnati Bengals and you
And
have to
then
go up there. This
close up
is
with the
to make or break
with
the
the
season, right?
Broncos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hey, look, this game is very important tonight.
I feel like the Chiefs, they do understand the moment. They do. Well, I know they do because they're led by Andy Reid. He's not going to let them think too far out. He's going to put the game that's in front of them right there. I do believe in tonight's ball game. I think Kansas City does what they need to do, take care of business.
Hmm.
Looking back on defense, though, I was on a few shows during the break, and they all asked the same thing: how has Kansas City, and what's been the biggest difference in Kansas City with their win streak? I've always said the defense getting healthy, the addition of Melvin Ingram to that defense, and the admission
Hmm.
without saying much, but moving Chris Jones back inside to the tackle position versus the outside at the end. I think those three things, but the most important, of course, the health of the defense being what they are. Spags is finally able to call the defense and call the plays that he wants because his players are healthy and they can get to the positions that they know where they're supposed to be, and they are getting pressure on the quarterback. But more importantly, Steve, they're also creating turnovers, giving the offense extra possessions that they
Hmm.
didn't get earlier this season.
Yeah, I agree. The defense has definitely won this Chiefs team a bunch of games. Now the way that it started, I think even when you look at when they play Baltimore, when they play the Chargers, look, the defense had gotten the ball back early in the game so that the Chiefs
Yeah,
could
they
go
were
up
given
at
an
least
extra
two
possession. Yep.
scores. Yeah,
Yep.
so I mean, granted, they may have not looked good, throughout the rest of the game. They did what they needed to do so that maybe they could. It wouldn't have been so tough coming down the stretch. But it's neither here nor there. We're here now, and look, like you said, the addition of Melvin Ingram. Look, he's still even ranked third on the depth chart, but we know what trouble he brings, on the field. Right, he's definitely a guy who's a no nonsense kind of guy. He's gonna show you what he brings to the table on the field. He's not going to talk about it. He's definitely going to be about it. Then you look, Chris Jones talked about his wrist injury earlier in the season, torn ligaments. He wasn't at his best. Now he said, Sack Nation is back. Frank the Shark Clark said, hey, the Shark is back out there. And I think, these guys being able to have that camaraderie and knowing what they bring to the table, Tyrann Matthew still being the leader of this defense. I think all of these guys being healthy will right the ship and definitely get them to Los Angeles at the end of the season.
Steve Walls, Darren Smith, Kansas City Chiefs cheat sheet. One other thing I do want to look at on that defense, let's not, and I really don't want to overlook the play of the defensive backfield based on the outside. Javarius Ward, Legarius Sneed. We
Mhm.
did get a chance to talk to Sneed this week, but Ward, last week, 7 tackles, season high, 3 pass deflections, and he had his first interception of the season as well for him. I mean, talk again.
First interception of the past couple of seasons.
Yeah, and so I mean, again, like I said, everything is starting to work well, which it does kind of have this same 2019 feel, Steve. I mean, now granted, obviously they went to Super Bowl last 2 years, but when you look at what happened when they were in Nashville 2 years ago, they lost. They lost in a different manner, but they lost to Nashville, but they didn't lose again after that ball game. They won. They went on to win 9 straight games. Things a little bit different, of course. They lost. They won 4 games in a row, leading to their bye week, and now they play the rest of the games out where they have, including tonight's game. I think you're looking at one, two, three, four, six games for the Chiefs to finish out the season. Any similarities in 2019 and 2021, and how you're seeing the season kind of bring itself to a slight conclusion?
Oh man, a little bit. I mean, just the defense starting off slow, but
Yeah,
the only
yeah,
difference is the offense didn't start off slow. The offense they wreck shop, each and every week. We saw Tyreek Hill being a blazer down the field, and there was no stopping the deep ball. I mean, we talked about this team being a track meet, really. How fast the team was, how they're able to stretch the field. But this season, I mean, they're having to win in different ways, and that's the only difference. But the feel of the defense, I mean, they're definitely coming along. They're hitting their stride right now. And so I think when it's all said and done, like Andy Reid said at the beginning of in I believe it was week 4, he'll be happy when both sides of the ball are clicking, and I think they really are. They may not be lighting up the scoreboard like we're used to, but I think they're both clicking at the same time.
Chiefs 7-5. Excuse me, 7-4. Denver Broncos 6-5. Steve, keys to tonight's game and the X factor in tonight's game for you.
Oh, we talked about it. I think it's going to be this defense, how they're able to get after Teddy Bridgewater. Like we you talked about the secondary of this Kansas City Chiefs team. I think the guys down front, Frank Clark, the Mike Dana, Melvin Ingram, Chris Jones, Alex Okafor, those guys, also Jaron Reed, those guys have to
Yeah.
get after the Denver Broncos quarterback, and that way it'll make it easier on the secondary, and they're able to to make plays. They have to create turnovers, and also I think special teams is going to come into play.
Mm.
We always talk about the 3 phases: the team having to play, great on special teams, great on defense, and great on offense. So I think Patrick Mahomes, like I said, Andy Reid's drawing up some things for this offense, so I don't really worry about them. But the defense, definitely they have to keep the wheels turning. That way, it doesn't seem, because look, they did have a break. They did have that bye, and hopefully the fire hasn't dimmed a little bit, so to speak, on this team.
Hopefully they didn't get too fat over the Thanksgiving holiday. I'm pretty sure Andy got a chance to hopefully run some of that Thanksgiving turkey and stuffing off of the players during practice this week. Steve, it comes that time in the ball game where we get to do our predictions again. It's been a crazy day in the AFC. We saw the Raiders fall. We saw the Bengals. They had one damn job and they couldn't do that right.
Mm.
But be that as it may, again, all Kansas City needs to do, they need to do their job. With that being said, it's going to be a sellout crowd here as the game kicks off in a little under 25 minutes. Who wins tonight's ball game? What's your score?
Whew. I mean, I know the Chiefs. I have the Chiefs winning. However, score is going to be a little rough. I think it's going
Chiefs
to
are
be.
8.5 point favorite for
Yeah, it's. I think it's going to be a little closer than folks expect. I think. Look, if this Chiefs offense doesn't come out and score first, it's going to be a long game. Because the Broncos are going to try to slow things down
Mm.
a little bit, and their defense, the way that they're able to um, they're third, like I said, they're third in points allowed, only giving up 17, a little over 17 points a game. So that being said, I think that if this offense comes out and scores first, it's gonna be a good day for the Chiefs. So I think they're gonna get to at least 30 points, but it's gonna be 30. I would say 31-24 Chiefs.
And the
Um,
Broncos scored that many points?
yeah, I really think because the Chiefs they're ranked 13th right now, giving up 22 points a game. So I think they're gonna give up about what did I say, 24 points? Yeah, I
Hmm.
think they're gonna give about 24 points today.
Well,
Chiefs
I
gonna win.
well, I got the Chiefs winning as well. Just like I do have Kansas City winning tonight's ball game. I think it's I don't think it's that close at all. I think Kansas City wins this game. I think the offense struggles,
Mm,
and I have Kansas City winning this game, 31-13. I think Patrick Mahomes has a good offensive day, and I think the defense, because of how they play, how healthy they are, once they get the lead, they'll be able to go and apply a lot of pressure. Teddy Bridgewater is not a quarterback that really likes to run. Um, Even though they have a set of receivers that I do respect, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, Jerry Judy, I just think with this defense playing at an elite level at this moment, I think that is going to be a little bit too much for Denver's offense to withstand. Now again, defensively, I think they'll fill each other out, but I think at the end of the day, I think the offense will wake up and I don't think they're really worried about scoring first because I think, as you know, if they win the coin toss, they'll elect to the first, so they'll give the Denver offense a chance. Which, again, I don't expect a whole lot from them, so I don't expect them to do a whole lot. So it's not going to matter tonight's game whether or not the Chiefs start on offense or not. So I got Kansas City winning 31-13,
mhm.
moving on to 8-4, and of course they'll still be fourth in the conference. But that's where all the fun starts to happen over the next few days. Obviously tomorrow with the Monday night game between the Patriots and I don't know. Maybe I'm hoping. Well, it doesn't matter. Either one of those teams lose, they'll get 5 losses, and I hope the next time they play a couple weeks later, the other team will win, so they'll have their fifth loss or whatever. Kansas City wins out, and we're good. But be that as it may, Steve, before we get out of here, man, you look nice, man. Tell us about your sponsors for tonight's game day wear.
Uh, my good friends over at Dillard's, located in Zona Rosa. Look, it's the holiday time. If you're looking for a good holiday gift for your loved one, whether it be if your man looking for your wife or girlfriend something, if you're a young lady or woman looking for your husband or boyfriend, even your kids something, go out there and take a look. They have everything that you need. Look, and they also even have some good Chiefs gear. I was just checking out something. I got a Chiefs hat, salute to service hat yesterday, and so people don't they underestimate the Chiefs gear that dealers out there Zona Rosa has, and you can also get you a suit made as well. So go check them out. Talk to my guy Jeff out Dillard's Zona Rosa.
All right, and of course, special thanks as always to not only Todd's at Todd's Taylor and Clothier Shop, of course, Todd's Clothier and Tailor Shop, who gets me ready each and every week. I do love this look, as people said, attention to detail with the cream color stuff. This holiday season, of course, if you, as Steve mentioned, for dealers, if you want that game day wear, if you want that business casual look, make sure you stop by one or two locations, 21st and Broadway, along with the Ward Parkway Shopping Center off of 85th and State Line. Visit Todd White, let him know I sent you. He'll get you all set up, ready to go. And Steve, we do want everyone to join us tomorrow night at the Soiree Steak and Oyster House down on 18th and Vine. Make sure you come down there. Not only will we celebrate and talk about this Chiefs game tonight, along with myself, Steve, DJ Q, and Sean Tyler, but we will also celebrate Buck O'Neill being voted in and elected to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. We do want to send a special shout out to the Negro League Baseball Museum, Bob Kendrick, obviously fans and family of Buck O'Neill, who is long overdue to get, saying to get into baseball's Hall and Hall. So we are going to celebrate that just as much as we do a Chiefs win that we both, Steve and I, predict on tonight's game. So with that being said, of course, you can find Steve Walls on all social media platforms at Steve Walls KC. You can find me on the social media platforms at Darren Smith WHB. Of course, you can also listen to the W Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on 100.1 FM. And of course, you can listen to my show, Darren and Sterling, ESPN Kansas City, Monday through Friday, 3 to 4 p.m. Central. And again, tomorrow night, join us at the Soiree for the Red Hour with myself, Steve Walls, Sean Tyler, and DJ Q. And until then, make sure you join us post game on our respective platforms as we bring you the Chiefs post game presser featuring Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and select players addressing the media tonight following tonight's Sunday night matchup against the Denver Broncos. So until next Sunday afternoon, I'm Darren Smith with Steve Walls for the Kansas City Chiefs cheat sheet. We are out of here.